Purgers, it's that time again. We've got our mask because it's almost our second favorite night of the year. It's almost Halloween, baby. We're talking season 2, episode 3, so stick around.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
That's right. Hit that siren. It's almost time. Look at that.
Oh my god, we purging tonight.
We're getting festive, y'all. Oh boy, that's right. Oh, it's almost Halloween. It feels right. We got the Purge mask. We got the whole crew back for the first time this season. Oh, that's right. We're ready to talk about the Purge, y'all. We're talking season 2, episode 3, Blindspots. Oh God! I almost forgot. See, he's ready to purge, guys. Oh, almost forgot how this goes, y'all. My name is Ty Matthews. We're back with another episode. Let's go down the line. To my left, you can find him right on this network. Fittingly enough, he's talking about This Is Us. Elsewhere, he's talking about Inside the Black Actors Studio, starting next week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Danny Rice.
What's good, everybody? It's great to be here on a cool panel. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's kill it.
Moving on down the line, she's rocking the mask that is playing a pivotal role in this season. You can find her talking about My Hero Academia and, fittingly enough, How to Get Away with Murder. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Gray.
What's up, everybody? We're back.
Of course. How you feeling, Jamie?
I'm feeling good, especially after this episode. I wasn't here last episode for episode 2, but I am amazed. I am so hyped about this season. It is honestly 10 times better than season 1. It's giving me what I want, and I have so much more to say about it, but I'm happy to be back.
Oh, it's off to a hot start. And rounding out the crew, of course, last but not least, he'll be back with a very special segment later on this episode. You can find him also talking about My Hero Academia, as well as Total Divas. Ladies and gentlemen, Ollie Drennan.
Yay!
That's
How
my
fitting.
crime. That's his theme song.
The shade. Hold up.
The shade was thrown on that one.
It's his theme song for you when he's purging.
You know what? I'm
That's
gonna
what
take
it
that. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna own that. Thank you very much for that sound effect. That was the best sound effect ever.
Complete
Oh
accident.
my God.
It's like, damn, it's Ollie again.
So much happening.
The
The
horror.
witching hour is upon us. We got tricks, we got treats. Let's talk
Where the treats at?
about blind spots, y'all. Where do we start with this episode?
Man.
First impressions. Let's go
my
around.
gosh.
First impressions of this episode.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you like
I
it?
really enjoyed it. I like where the season's going. I'm got predictions. I can't wait to that.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it was an overall really good, well-rounded episode, and I love to see like Ben's character, what he's going through, and Esme and Ryan. Like it's really nice how they're all connected.
Absolutely, Jamie. What'd you think?
It's overwhelming, but like in a good way. And I was talking to, of course, my amazing panel earlier, just saying that this show it's pretty evergreen. That's why it's lasted so long. And I think that with this series, like season 1, I wasn't quite sure, and they made it to a season 2. I think it has so much potential, not just from this episode or this season. If they add celebrities, it could be like a Law and Order where they have different topics and different perspectives, and it could really continue to last and last.
Sure.
But back to this episode. Sorry, great episode. I'm really loving just kind of the trauma and the triggerage that Ryan is going through, and then also. I think it's with Ben, Michelle's husband, right?
Yeah.
He's going through so much wondering.
Or
what
Michelle's
No,
husband is
Michelle.
Marcus.
Marcus,
Yeah,
thank
Marcus.
you.
Yeah.
Love my panel. Marcus, who is going through so much with his wife. I mean, it's so much there, which is why you have to stay tuned for our predictions. But honestly, right now, it's a lot of storylines. It's hard to kind of grasp it all, but yeah.
Yeah, Ollie, what'd you think?
Lots of moving parts. I totally agree. But I love that this is such a different season. We've never had like a movie or like obviously this is like the second season. Like what happens after Purge? Like it's so refreshing not to like be on Purge Night.
That's
and
a
to
good
kind of,
point.
like, and it's like terrifying to really think about like those people who like what are those minds going throughout the year like towards the next Purge. Like it's terrifying. I wouldn't know who to trust throughout the year at all. And so it's cool in this episode particular. We saw like Michelle we'll talk about her, but she's going into like the counseling group, the therapy for everything, all the trauma. Jamie's like, I still don't trust her. Trauma, air quotes for podcast listeners.
Sure.
You know, as what we're believed to think about. But for people like Michelle who actually have gone through, but it's cool to see different people and how they're dealing with the aftermath of the purge.
I think that's a great point. I think one of the, like you guys said, one of the strongest points that this season is taking is like the far-reaching ramifications of the purge on the other 364 nights of the year. You know, this takes, for all of the quote-unquote supposed good that it does America, it has so much, it has such deep effects on people, on mentally, emotionally. There, we're exploring themes of PTSD and support groups and trauma and flashbacks and all these different things that this series can explore on a deeper level than the movies kind of got to.
Right.
With the movies, you sort of have to go with the gore and the violence and what's going to make a big box office. With the series, we can it's a slower burn. We can explore these more emotional themes.
And it adds reality to the issue. Because it's like, it's not, if Purge actually did exist, we wouldn't just be like, oh, let's wait until next Purge. Like, there would be traumas, there would be people like grieving and going through all this stuff that we actually get to see these characters go through. So I thoroughly enjoy it.
And it's also kind of like to piggyback off that. It also shows everything that's going on behind closed doors after the purge, or maybe in open fields, which we're talking about.
Right. Oh boy.
So yeah, it's very interesting, and I also want to shout out the chat. Cassandra's in there.
Nice.
Peyton, Maine. Thank you guys for tuning in live.
Yes.
If you're not, then it's totally fine. Leave a comment afterwards.
Absolutely. And Danny, that's a great observation. I feel like that's something I never really thought about, but the series feels a lot more grounded in reality than the movies do. The movies are awesome, but they're these kind of larger than life, almost, caricatures on a certain level of this event. But this, it's like you said, it's a lot more what it might be like if it were, if it really happened. We saw, Ollie and I, we talked about last week how it kind of, it affected so much of the Miranda rights, when Tommy gets arrested, or the fact that he's sentenced to death for this level R infraction.
Which is wild.
Craziness.
Right? Let's start off with that. Let's start off, the episode starts off, Tommy's getting led into the courtroom in chains. It's pretty cut and dry, you can't argue with the hard evidence as much as it is splitting hairs, it's a fact's a fact. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's pretty heavy, and I think that each start of the episode, of each episode, has been something to really reel you in. When I'm hearing, that he's having 365 days until he's going to be executed, that just makes it 10 times more worse about the sentence, and that it doesn't even have to actually be a crime, like a felony where he's hurting someone.
Right.
So it just goes to show, whether it's in this reality or our reality, justice is really not so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, I think it was just incredibly harsh for like an inch. But there was a lot of talk about, when reviews came out with this episode and stuff like that, just saying that the judicial system has not changed for people of color. And because because Ortiz was a person of color, then level R became more strenuous, I guess. Which I know it could be, that's a good observation, I guess. But I just think overall it's just, it's too much. It's really too much. Right. But I have a great prediction for that. So
there you go.
And I also think that's a very good point that you bring up. But maybe people don't do crime throughout the year normally.
Sure.
Because of the increased repercussions of their actions of committing a crime. So I'm not defending police brutality by any means, but maybe that's another reason why everyone just does crimes on the Purge Night, and it's so safe throughout, air quotes again, drink every time I do the air quotes. Maybe that's why people generally don't do crimes, because
that's interesting.
Because suffering the repercussions are 10 times worse than it is for our universe.
Yeah, I never thought about that, because the whole point of the Purge in this whole universe is that it drops the crime level so drastically. Yeah. We never thought about the fact that it could just be because it's become this sort of almost totalitarian government where something as simple as this will get you a death sentence.
An inch.
Right. And what I was surprised about is that I thought, okay, for sure, the judicial system and the police force are going to use Purge Night to kill these criminals.
Right, yeah.
What I thought they were going to be a little bit more vague about it. They were going to obscure it a little more, like just kind of like, oh, it just so happens they let him go on Purge Night and then kill him. I didn't think that it was going to be built into his sentence. Like, all right, you're going to wait for a year, and on Purge Night you're done. You know?
Right.
And it's like, what kind of even purge? Like, how is he going to go
I
out?
think-
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that's all. The cops and all that, they'd have their purges too, and I think they use inmates to do that and just kind of let out every aggression and all that stuff.
Right.
People who, from shoplifting to rape to murder, whatever it may be, I think that's the cops' night too.
Right, exactly. And one thing that was interesting is that during this whole courtroom scene, we find out that Tommy has the option of putting himself up for auction during the purge. If I'm understanding this right, he can put himself up for auction.
Right.
Whoever wins obviously gets to purge him, but then 5% of that money goes to his next of kin.
That's so interesting.
Which is
Right.
so 5%, yeah, exactly.
That is so
Messed up on so many levels.
right.
What if like,
5%.
what if someone only bids like $20?
That's the thing, you never know.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway.
Like, what?
I don't know how their minds are, how bad they want to purge, and what they're gonna do. You know, like what are the stakes?
So wait, I still like. What is? It doesn't make sense. So you have, so you can set yourself up for auction.
That was my kind of understanding
to
of
get
it.
sold on Purge Night.
Yeah, 'cause
so
either-
you can get
either
killed
way-
by someone else besides the cops.
Exactly. Either way, he's gonna die on Purge Night. This is just a way for them to say, like,
Get a little
okay,
money.
you can throw your family like a
Gotcha.
little bit of money
Oh my
in the
gosh.
process.
A little something, something.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
5%. Okay.
Honestly, but this is where I'm just wondering, like, is he gonna snitch, or do they even care? Like, who else was involved? Like, who's gonna be up for him? Because all these other people, I'm just wondering who had something to do with this.
Right.
Sure.
You know, like as far as just the timing of it.
I just want to
it's
know
up
how
in the
they
air.
came up with 5%. Like, how did they come with that number?
Well, and you gotta think that like the market is probably oversaturated at this point.
Yeah.
Like if all of these crimes are punishable by death, there's gonna be so many people up for auction. Nobody's gonna
yeah.
be paying shit.
Right.
People.
That's true.
So it's not going to be much going to the Ortiz family. But hopefully Esme grows a conscience between now and then. We'll get into that in the predictions. We also, over the course of this kind of subplot, we keep jumping back and forth from the past to the present. 8 years ago, we see Ryan, we see Tommy, Sarah, Doug, everyone that's on the police force during what I assume was kind of maybe like an early Purge Night. The timeline gets a little bit hazy here and there, so I'm not totally sure. But 8 years ago, I imagine it was a little bit, one of the early ones.
Yeah.
And that chief, she's giving the whole speech, don't go out on Purge Night. Definitely no uniforms. Avoid anyone you gave even so much as a parking ticket to. Like,
Right.
Facts.
yeah.
LA parking.
Yeah, exactly.
Parking enforcement, stay home. Because it would be
For a
rough.
week.
But then Ryan, he's kind of using this as a chance to deal out his own vigilante justice. There's this drug lord named Caruso. He's responsible for all of these deaths, all of this drug activity in the city.
Right.
So Ryan's like, hey, how about we use this, as a benefit, to get rid of him. And then of course, as we see, Caruso's not the only one on the take. What do you guys think of this?
It's a lot. And that's why it makes it unfair. But again, there's no justice in this.
Of course, the NFFA's everywhere. They've got their hands in everything.
Got hands in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan's my favorite character. Like, he's a badass.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, he just has eyes and ears all around. Like, they have it on him, but he also is very aware
Right?
of his. Like, he's just he's trained killer. Like, so I'm happy. I'm excited to see where his character is going to lead to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. I think last week he brought up that he's kind of like that Robin Hood character who
Yeah.
steals from,
Right.
I guess,
NFFA?
right, to give back his family and
Right.
his
Yeah.
mom who's dealing with dementia or the Alzheimer's. And I also was kind of. Did anyone else feel like he was like talking like Batman? Like his voice was like.
That's what I get.
Happy,
I get a very vigilante
Yeah.
feeling
I'm
from him.
Ryan. I'm gonna steal from the NFA. NFA. I can't even say it.
Right.
But right, his voice was just so raspy.
Yeah.
Esme.
Right.
I know who you are.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one thinking that.
No. I definitely get that.
I wonder if we're gonna see that blonde lady again. She's kind of scared me.
You got to think for
She's
sure.
my nerves.
Spooking me out.
She's got to go.
She's gonna be, yeah.
It's always the bosses.
Right?
Always.
Yeah, in the world of the Purge, yeah, you never trust your boss, ever, no matter what.
Oh, never.
But I love there were these little things that show that the NFFA is everywhere. The fact that at one point there's a close up of a license plate, and even the license plate says "A Nation Reborn." It's become this like commodity, this kind of like the slogan that everyone just kind of throws out, you know, because everyone thinks that it does so much good. But yeah, so
I can
we
think
got
of a slogan like that.
but yeah, so we've got this whole standoff. Ryan and Esme's subplots sort of kind of like bleed into each other, which also kind of bleeds into Marcus's because she's calling Darren, and everything is all interwoven and interconnected. Ryan calls a meeting at this bar with Doug and Sarah to kind of talk about what he's found. He's been kind of tracking these armored trucks over to this airstrip by Overton. Finds out that the banks actually keep their money in the air at all times.
Which is genius.
Which is like, what a way to raise the stakes, you know?
Literally raise the
Exactly.
Imagine Purge in the sky, though.
That's
Like,
so smart, though, yeah.
You
It's like-
know we're
limit.
getting a heist in the air.
Right.
We'll get into that
This is
prediction.
Right.
Mission Impossible now.
Exactly. But Sarah and Doug don't want any part of it. They don't want, it's too risky. They already risked enough for what was basically pennies and what got Tommy a death sentence. So, of course, they don't want any part of it. But, of course, Esme's listening in. What did you guys think about this scene and this kind of convergence of these plots?
of Esme looking at the videotape and talking to...
Of her kind of like tracking Ryan and her eavesdropping on his conversation in the bar as he's calling this meeting.
Right, and then he's like calling her out on it. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, at the same time, she's doing her job too. I don't really know what her obsession is with him per se versus with the lady who I guess saved her life.
Drew,
Yeah,
Dr. Drew.
yeah.
But it makes me kind of almost suspicious of her too.
Right.
Because when you have that much power to see over everything, and right now we don't really know what her space is. If she's victim, is she, guilty? We don't know. Kind of like with our character from last season. Starts with a J. I already forgot it.
Jenna.
No,
Jenna.
Jane.
No, Jane. And we
Yeah.
didn't know if we could trust her or not too. And she was kind of in that world too. So
Right.
I don't know. She almost seems too innocent right now. So I'm a little skeptical.
Right. I think what I got from that part of Esme that we're following is that I feel like this is kind of the last bit of her like just being a good employee and doing her job. I think she's only investigating Ryan because, like she said, he's so good at hiding.
Right.
He had
That's
that.
something.
Yeah, he had those like goggles in the first episode that obscured everyone's faces. He's able to find out exactly where he needs to be to have his face obscured. So that makes him suspicious. I feel like this is like the last bit of her doing NFFA work before she finally, maybe
rogue.
goes like full vigilante. Yeah, exactly.
I think I don't know. I think she's what drives her is finding out who killed Dr. Drew. But I
Right.
believe she's going to use NFFA to her advantage.
Right.
To find all this stuff out. However, I don't trust her coworker.
Me either. Me either.
Yes,
Vivian.
because
That's
she,
the redhead.
That's a
yeah,
good
the
point.
redhead. She's like all over. She keeps tabs on her, and
Oh,
I know
that's a
she's
great
talking to
point.
somebody.
I know.
I don't trust her.
At first, I was thinking on this conversation, maybe Esme is going to go like double agent, but then Vivian might be the double agent as you bring her.
Yeah, she's.
Right.
I don't trust her.
Don't trust
Right?
the redhead.
I don't.
In the Purge. Wasn't it? Who was the last? Not Jenna. Jenna was a redhead. What was her girlfriend's name? She was a redhead. Don't trust her.
It's tough. It's tough when there's
Bosses
all
and
brand new
redheads.
characters in this season.
And assistants. Because even with
Assistants,
Jane's
right.
assistant last time, and then
Right.
she
Oh,
killed the
that's
dude
right.
because
She
he
was
was
like-
because he didn't want her, But at the same time, I almost don't want the season this year to have that similar plot
Right,
line.
no, yeah.
I needed to have a little bit of a switch. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't trust either of them. And then even with Miss Drew and that surveillance footage, we don't know who those men were that were shooting her yet.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Yeah.
could also be part of Ryan's crew. We don't
Right.
know. Or
maybe Drew was taken out. This is predictions for a good reason.
Oh,
Maybe she's not as good as
interesting.
Esme thinks.
Everyone
Idolizes when everyone like idolizes I know this is prediction. I'm so sorry.
No, but that's
No, I love
it's
it.
hard not to talk about predictions.
I'll try to think of why I would think that, but that's something that
You
I
never
thought
know,
about.
yeah. But let's talk about what exactly those brain scans were. You know, we see that meeting between Esme and Darren, Marcus's son, in that cafe. And of course, when he finds out that she works for NFFA, he wants nothing to do with it. He's out of there. She reassures him, you know, she's just trying to find out why Professor Adams was killed. But we see these brain scans. Darren says he didn't know that she. What did he say? He didn't know that she had any other active trials going on. We know that she's investigating kind of the violent effects that the purge might have on people's brains. It's so hard not to get into predictions.
Right, it's really
It is.
What I'm thinking is do we think it's bordering a little bit like she's close to a breakthrough?
Yes.
You know, like,
That's what I believe.
and like maybe Darren was like, maybe she was Darren's mentor or something like that, and that's why he's got such a stake in this beyond her just being his professor. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she was figuring something out. Maybe there's a heightened of mental illness because of the purge having an effect on people.
Sure.
So I think she was on to something, and NFFA got okay. Prediction, sorry.
Right? We'll get into that. We're gonna have a loaded prediction section later on in this episode. I guess, yeah. I mean, that's kind of we sort of covered both Esme and Ryan.
Yeah.
That was kind of like all one subplot that sort of converged. So let's talk a little bit about Ben.
Goodness.
And his journey, his kind of descent. We start out. He's
Strawberries, Ben.
He's trying to have sex with Kellen, not quite working. He keeps having these flashbacks, these moments, not even looking at the poor girl.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. He was trying to give her the D, but all he had to deal with was PTSD, and I just felt so bad for him. I was worried that his story arc would somehow merge like sex with violence. I'm glad that's not going in that way because that would have been really hard to watch.
Yeah.
But I will say that it's just an interesting take because I don't know if I should sympathize with this character because he seems like he's just on a downward spiral.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any saving for him.
No, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah,
But it's just
definitely.
interesting how we're following in this particular arc for his character as a whole. We're just following kind of like the development of an antagonist, I guess.
Right.
Or a crazy person, which is refreshing as well.
Right. I think something was always in him. It just needed to be awakened.
That's a good point.
But this is what awakened it. And I think he's going to, get even worse. However, I do appreciate the show bringing this sort of like trauma on all different characters, but especially Ben, because he's trying so hard to fill that void. Because his power was taken away from him in that incident. So he's trying to get that back, but he was always crazy.
Right.
He was always in there.
Even though like you can tell he's trying to seek help, like even just going to the strawberry field, he's trying. But part of me, it's like I'm scared for him.
Yeah.
But I also love it.
Well, and,
I love that he's like, just letting. It's scary to see, but I kind of like this development because he's also speaking for a lot of the underdogs, the people who have felt victimized or bullied or vulnerable, and so I kind of just want to see this unleash and see what he does with it. Without hurting everyone. I was happy that he didn't hurt the cow.
Right.
That was
well,
great.
And let's talk about that scene. Let's talk about him going to this farm and the fact that there's this whole like new market that's emerged in the world of the purge where people want to get out their aggression, but they don't want to kill people. So there's become this whole secondary market of just killing animals just for recreation.
Well, so it's
just
like,
for the fun of it.
Yeah, I believe we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We were like, well, because he talked. I said I didn't want animals because I'm vegan. But just seeing them bring that, and then like he's not necessarily hurting the cow. But I thought it was interesting because I think it's something that would totally happen.
Of course, if people are
it's already kind of happening. But
if people are being this desensitized to violence against other people, then of course it follows that the same thing's going to happen with violence against animals.
Yeah. People are sick.
Right.
That makes me so upset. Every time we say something on the after show, it happens.
I know.
But yeah, I was really surprised that even the farmer was creeping me out too.
Yeah.
So that's why
I want to know.
That's why I brought up I would be so afraid of everyone in this world. Just
Right.
Even
not
kids.
the purge because people are so passively aggressive
Right.
and things go on behind
I don't know,
closed doors.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I want to know, did he give him a 20 or not?
Man,
That's what I
we'll
want
get
to
to that because that was on my mind the whole episode. But
He was
going
asking
back to this farmer, for some reason I got the feeling that like he's mostly good. It seemed to me like this is just something that he has to do. Like there was a weird hole and he just happened to be able to fill it. You know, like he doesn't seem happy about it.
I mean, he's making some money, I'm sure.
Right.
Some good money.
Cash only.
Right.
But he said he wasn't getting as much business. He says he gets more business on the weekend. So he's probably like, listen, I got to get this extra
Wait,
cash.
I think you guys are talking about two different farmers. Wait, you're talking
Which
about the
one?
strawberry guy.
The strawberry.
I'm talking about
you're
the
talking
guy
about the cow.
at the
the animal slaughter place.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute,
Rewind.
weekends.
Sorry.
But yeah, it seemed like he wasn't happy about it, but there was one thing that he said, I don't know if y'all caught it, at one point, and I don't know if this was meant to be symbolic, but it rang to me on a few different levels. He says that blood will find a way in. He says, make sure you seal up the neck and the sleeves because blood will find a way in.
Yes.
To me, I feel like blood has already found a way into Ben's head, you know?
Right.
Like, this is getting
on
to
his
him.
hands.
Exactly. It's like you said, Dan, it was already in him,
Yeah.
but I think that Purge Night really awakened something in him. Also, real quick, one thing connecting season 1, season 2, that radio show that he's listening to
Right.
I was listening
in the
to
car.
it.
I love the return of that.
Yeah.
That gave me PTSD. I was like, oh God, no.
Talking
no.
about the healing power of the
Yeah.
purge, but of course, you know, he doesn't go through with it, doesn't kill the cow. Even the farmer says, you know, not everyone has the stomach for it, so he decides to go and find some strawberries. You know, nature's blue pill, as Kellen tells him at the beginning of the episode. And this is where that transaction happens. We're going to have to go back. We didn't rewind the tape. I think that they left it intentionally vague.
Right,
Yeah.
me too.
But there's this whole back and forth where, okay, did he give the farmer a 20?
Right.
Did he give him a 10? Like,
Right.
what do you guys think it actually happened or it was all in his head?
I think it's all in his head.
Yeah?
Honestly. Just because I just think it'd be more interesting that way.
Sure.
I can see that.
Yeah.
What
But you don't
did
trust
y'all
that.
think?
Jamie's just like, I don't trust that farmer.
Well, okay,
Also
because
fair.
Well, he's dead now. So.
I mean, once Danny brought it up, I was like, wait a minute. But when it was all happening, I was like, this farmer, he's trying to pull one over our head. He's already been bullied. He's been through a lot right now. He's triggered. He's going through a lot of PTSD. And I was like, he was kind of asking for it. Because, like, give me my money. He's used to, like, scamming people over. I don't have time.
Right.
I didn't think he was going to do all that.
Right.
Maybe like an
Craziness.
elbow, a shove here, there, give me my money. But also, here's the other thing. When he did hand him the 20, it was not crinkled like that $10 bill that the old farmer had.
interesting. Okay.
That's one thing I did notice.
right,
Because when he
alright.
pulled it out, it was just kind of like, that looks a little different.
Sure.
A sleuth over here.
But it could
She's
be-
like Esme over
It
here.
could be just that the farmer stuffed it into his pocket.
Right.
Maybe it got crumpled that way. Who knows?
Why are you wearing skinny jeans on
Would
the farm?
would you right? What do you think?
No, I hope we just don't know. We don't find that
That's
out.
I
don't
love
find out.
keeping it vague.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
it really,
Yeah.
that's- I mean, it creates discussion right now as we're doing it.
Right.
And I think that was like phenomenal that the writers chose that, and the director chose not
Exactly,
to showcase that.
and they were. And I think that you know something should be said for the way that they both acted that scene because they both acted like they were in the right. I feel like
Yeah.
anywhere else, one of them would have been like excessively
Exactly,
shady,
yeah.
and we would have known. But both of them were convinced
I
that
believe
they were
both
right.
of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic. And then, my God, what a brutal death scene for this farmer. I was not USA Network. I wasn't expecting this from y'all. We might need. You know what? Let's grab this right here. We might need.
Purge away.
We might need some purge away for this. That farmer is gonna have some hard to remove stains. Shout out to the USA Network for shooting
Yes.
over some purge away.
That was, yeah. That was,
But oh my God,
intense.
the stabbing was like, all right, we've seen stabbing before. It was the rock
The
to
rock.
the head.
Yeah.
My God.
I mean, see,
he's
things.
just,
That was a lot of.
He's gone. He's a goner.
Exactly.
Just like that, but like multiple times.
He's a goner. I feel bad for the girlfriend. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that. You know, once he gets home, he takes a shower, washes all that blood off, and he has this scene with her. And this was another thing that kind of like the two people in the scene were on two different wavelengths because he
Right.
comes in and he says, "I purged." The way that I read it, I don't know if y'all read it this way. The way that I read it, he's admitting to killing the farmer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks he's talking about the kill that he did on Purge Night.
Right.
And he says, I stabbed him over and over again. And
Yeah.
she says, did you have to? And he said, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, in his head, of course he had
Of course.
to, you know?
Yeah.
Justifying.
Man.
No,
Yeah.
I think your analogy is right. She's
Right?
thinking of the first time. He's thinking of every single time. He's like, I had to kill him.
Yeah, he's
every
thinking of
single time.
that poor strawberry farm.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course,
And-
that doesn't disturb her because that kills that she thinks happened on Purge Night. She
Right.
doesn't think that it's happening not on
Yeah,
Purge
and
Night.
it's like,
Right.
yeah, she thinks that he did it out of self-defense. She says what happens on Purge Night stays on Purge
He's like-
Night.
Which is a
It's like,
lie.
yeah. He said, yeah, Purge Night. So
Right,
that
exactly.
confirms
Yes.
to us that he wasn't talking about Purge Night.
Yeah, he's a liar, and I feel like she's gonna feel even worse when she finds out that
Oh, yeah.
the farm that she recommended, she went and killed the man.
Right,
You know?
right. Oh man,
I
that's
think-
right. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have been going for strawberries.
Like, we're gonna find out about it, I'm sure.
And I'm sure she goes to that farm like every other week.
Right, exactly.
She's like, hey.
I always just don't agree with what happens on Vegas stays in Vegas. I think that's such a horrible line. That's what's her name? What's her name again?
It was Kellen.
Kellen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that line is kind of like whoever says it is just self-denial. Like it's all denial.
Of course, yeah.
And I think
Justifying it.
it breaks. Yeah, exactly. And then I think it also, what you said, Ty, about how things bleed. Like literally from Purge, like every single year, things bleed out through the rest of the year from
Right.
Purge Night.
And even the philosophy of the show, I feel like is kind of bleeding over into the way we watch the show, is because, okay, if he killed someone on Purge Night, that's one thing. He's regressing into killing people outside of Purge Night. So he's not purging, he's just murdering.
Right.
You know, even
Exactly.
even to an outsider perspective, like there's this line where like, okay, on Purge Night, March 21st, it's fine. March 22nd, you're a murderer.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's full blown. And even when he had finished showering, he held the knife in his hand. Remember, he was like sitting down. So I'm like,
He's just gone.
to me, it's like he's on a roll. He wants to continue to kill.
Ben's got some weird shower habits. We saw him get in the shower with all his clothes on last week. It's a weird dude.
Well,
Yeah.
it's always a bad sign when he's showering because you know he just killed someone.
Exactly. Maybe that's going to be a theme we keep
Like,
revisiting.
that's the only time he showered now.
Kellen's gonna,
Purge shower gel.
When he kills someone.
Kellen's gonna notice that he's been showering multiple times a day, and that's just not.
Right.
Yeah.
She's gonna see this blood-stained clothes.
You never cared this much about hygiene before.
Right.
So let's talk about Marcus and Michelle and kind of where we're at with them. You know, he's Marcus is trying to find out who put out the hit on him, who put out that $75,000 bounty. Isn't really getting anywhere. Hired an investigator. You know, she brings up this phrase that I thought was fascinating. The phrase domestic purges. She throws that out like because it's just a normal thing. It's, you know, the way that we would talk about domestic abuse. There's now domestic purges in this universe. Like it's just something it's a reality they have to deal with.
Right.
But she says that I think she said most domestic purges, you know, are
Someone you know.
Or someone you know. Yeah, exactly. What did you guys think about Marcus kind of investigating his wife?
I mean, it made sense. Even murders, you know, that happen every day is usually by people you know. So I mean, nothing really changed in that aspect. But she planted something in his mind there. And then just the location and the photos didn't match up. The app. So I was like, okay, all right. I still don't fully trust her.
Right.
But I don't think she had anything to do with trying to kill him.
Sure.
Right. And I'm wanting more background on like exactly who she is and like her
Right.
background and all that, like money wise, because she's his second wife.
Exactly.
So not to kind of get into the whole gold digger, but it's like,
You know,
why are you trying to
that's
kill
what-
him off?
That's what I thought.
And, you know, is it
Where's-
something, I'll save it for predictions, but it's just like, what is the motive? And we didn't trust her from episode 1.
Right.
So it's almost too obvious, but I almost want like her to be the main killer. Like, what did he do or what are you trying to do? You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I knew that we weren't gonna find out that she put out the hit. Did anyone else find out or did anyone else think that he was gonna find her like having an affair or something like that? I thought that's where we were going with that.
Well, I'm thinking it's like an affair where the other man is like, I'm ready for you to leave this guy. I'm going to take his position at the company and then you'll be mine. I don't know, something like that.
Right.
I watch too many movies. But, you know, I was thinking something along
Usually what
those
happens.
lines.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I just don't know why she would want to kill him.
Right.
You know,
No.
because he seems like he doesn't have any ties to the NFFA. Because he's a doctor, right? He's a doctor or nurse.
He's a doctor. Yeah.
So he seems like a really great guy.
I think she's innocent. I do think that she's innocent at this point.
I mean, I know you're supposed to care about your spouse, but she did seem very. Now that I think of it, she's like, "What did the sheriff say, or what did the law enforcement?"
She really
say?
wanted to know.
Right.
I'll save it for predictions.
But she was to save the saving grace. Silver lining is that she was at counseling.
Yes.
And so I think it's really cool to kind of like. If so many people are suffering in this show, this universe, whether it's a mental disorder, whether it's PTSD, something, some traumatic event that happened to you.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other side of the ramifications of the purge that we're seeing. You know, we're seeing PTSD in Ben, but we're also seeing, coping and therapy and group sessions that Michelle's going to. At first, I wasn't sure what the meeting was about, but then the fact that it's specifically for people that have purge-related trauma, I thought was fascinating.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. I wasn't sure like how legit it was, because since he was tracking her phone, does she not already know this too? Sometimes you have to be like a couple steps ahead of people. Maybe she knows that
You
he
think
is
she
tracking.
knows that he's tracking her?
Yeah, because the meeting almost just did not seem genuine enough to me.
I was questioning the location of the meeting. Like I was like,
exactly.
like warehouse some type.
But maybe I'm standing Michelle for some reason. But maybe the purpose of that is to be secretive, so people don't people don't take advantage of your not disorder, your lack of a better term, your trauma.
Sure.
You want to be in a safe space, and maybe that safe space is a warehouse, so people do not find you, and you want to be able to talk to people who you trust, and maybe I'm sorry, Jamie.
No, you're good. You could be counseling for how to kill them better next time. She's like, this is to help you
What a
heal.
reveal that would be.
That would be so funny. You
Finds out,
next time,
we gotta
here's your plan.
Change the subject, y'all.
They gotta have some type of meetings with failed purges,
Surveillance
right?
cameras. I'm trying to like, who is this guy
Failed
peeping in?
purges. Let's meet. Talk about it.
Did you fail your purge too?
Did you fail
I
your
wonder,
purge?
like,
Sign up.
you gotta think, in the world of the purge, there's probably like YouTube compilations of like best purge fails.
There's gotta be. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. With the aspect of social media, I wonder if they're gonna bring that in later on this
Just
season.
people laughing at
That'd
it,
be
people
just
trying to
amazing.
purge someone and then like it backfiring.
Purge live stream.
Exactly, yeah. There's some equivalent of Vine.
World star.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of you like and subscribe to our purge channel.
Oh my god.
Where we
that's
purge
hilarious.
live.
That's the thing. Yeah, I want to explore social media in the world of the purge.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be rough.
That's what I'm saying. This show has so much. I can't wait. It has so
The
much
shade
potential.
room. The shade room.
Right? Exactly.
The blade room.
Oh my god.
But like, I would love for her to see like celebrities where not like it could be like in the actual sense of the celebrity world, but also where the celebrities are acting too.
Sure.
It could be so many different
And
things
then
like reality,
talk shows that are air that day. Like, can you purge them on
viral
air?
videos.
Ellen's just gonna be chopping.
Say, I always hated you.
Her worst guest. Oh,
Just podcast. Everyone's got a podcast about the
Oprah.
purge.
You get
You get a
Right.
You get to slit throw. You get to throw a slit.
everybody.
So after Marcus finds out Michelle's going to purge support groups, he feels bad, goes home, cooks this fancy dinner, everything seems fine. But then he's out for a jog, just a normal jog. And of course that bounty's still out there. So that there's a truck, and it comes that close to wrap up the episode. What'd you guys think?
Man. It was I saw it coming, but
Did you?
yeah, and I was like that truck is coming way too.
It's
Like,
a little bit too.
it was just too much. I'll save it for predictions, but yeah, go ahead.
Same. I have something for protection. Ours is probably the same. But I was probably like a slow. I caught on slow because I was like, oh, it's just gonna be a car driving. And then when I saw them swerve, I'll save it for predictions. But I'm just gonna say his stamina, his breath control to be able to even have the reflexes to move out of the way.
I know.
I don't know if that would have been me.
I wonder if he's a veteran, or something. Like he has like
Oh,
skills.
sure.
But there has to be something that we're not seeing. Like he's not all good, I want to say. But also I think it's an interesting. I don't want to just like real quick that I wonder how like the market is for like hits and assassinations are throughout the purge. Because I imagine it being a great market,
Right.
and them being expensive, to like,
Right.
because,
And Jane used it soon.
so
Right.
it's interesting. I wonder if we're gonna delve into that in the future.
Right, exactly. Well, speaking of which, we've been talking about it all episode. What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen the rest of the season? So let's get into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Quick one. All right, so let's start with Ollie. Let's start with Ollie.
Can you please not start with
Should we not
Just
start?
because, like, you guys are way more excited and I need to think real quick.
Get Jamie over here. Ladies
Jamie's
first.
ready.
All right,
Okay,
Jamie, what do
I'm
you
so
think?
All right,
What
I'm
you
just
got?
gonna just throw one out there. So as far as the man who was trying to run Marcus over with his car, that could possibly be the same guy who went missing, the one who had the scar from the first episode on his hand. So I figured that's real
Okay.
weird. And so I'm thinking that could possibly be him. Now, who is he? He has some sort of relation to Michelle and either her job or just love life. You know,
Right.
and also he could also be a neighbor because they are new to the neighborhood, right?
I thought so. The guy with the scar on his hand, that wasn't the guy who actually tried to kill him, who died in episode 2. Was that not?
Well, he didn't. Wait.
He did die. In
Yeah,
He did die.
Yeah.
He did.
Was that the guy with the scar on his hand?
That's the guy with the
Okay.
scar? Oh, okay.
Okay.
So he's gone.
So maybe not him.
So we got a new
we got
assassin.
a whole.
Never mind.
We got to have a whole new thing.
I don't know. Dang.
Because he was the one. He was
That's
the one
true.
that dropped Ivory Road. But I don't know.
There's someone else.
Right. There's someone else. There got to be some sort of connection.
Well,
His ex-wife.
Could be. It could be the first wife.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I don't
we
know.
know- do
it
we
could
know
be
what
the first. We
happened?
don't know much about
Do
it,
we know what
but
happened
it
in the
did
first
look
one?
like a
No.
guy was in the truck though, just by the.
His ex-husband.
But maybe the wife hired.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that could
Right.
But why aren't we pointing fingers at Darren? 'Cause Darren's his son.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder if he's mad at his dad or something.
Okay.
For
Some kind
marrying
of
his second wife. Like, you know, I don't like this lady. All this stuff.
You never know. Don't
Yeah.
trust
Never.
anyone.
Because he knows a lot. I mean, he's smart.
Sure.
I'm sure. He's a great student. However, he knew about Ivory Road, and so he knows about things
Right,
that
exactly.
people shouldn't normally know
Right.
Sure.
on the surface level.
And he
Right.
was really suspicious with Esme, too, when they met up.
Right.
So
He
he
was-
could have something to do with Dr. Drew, too.
Could
Right.
be. Could be.
Could be.
Danny, what do you think? What do you got?
So Ben is going to continue killing, and he's going to kill. What's his name? Tyler.
Yeah,
What is
Tyler.
that? Tyler. Yeah. He's going to-
Turner.
Turner.
Sorry, it's T something.
One of them
Yes.
T's.
Terry.
He's going to kill Turner.
Okay.
And while doing that, Kellen
Kellen. Uh-huh.
is going to see it.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a very, very good prediction.
And then the other one is Ryan and Esme. I believe they're going to work together.
Okay.
To figure out who killed Drew, and in exchange, Esme is going to help Ortiz be released.
There you go. There you
Okay,
go. And I think
good.
that's
I like
going to make
that.
her run afoul of her boss.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Oh, boy.
That is really good.
Yeah, Ollie, what do you think? What do you got?
I played the fifth.
It's a lot.
How am I supposed to follow? That was
There's
a
a
really
lot
good
happening.
prediction. There's people are gonna die. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's a
all I
safe
gotta
bet.
say. We're gonna die.
That's a safe bet. I think that the brain scans that we saw, I feel like Professor Adams, Drew, was on the verge of a breakthrough where the purge causes this permanent kind of, violence. And they know that if that gets out, it's going to be hard for the NFFA to kind of keep reinstating the purge, you
Right.
know? I don't know if there would be some sort of coup, if someone would be able to overthrow the NFFA. Who knows?
Right.
Interesting.
And I think we're seeing that with Ben.
Yeah.
That's what she was researching.
Right. God, yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's exactly right. God,
Oh my
there's
gosh.
there's so much
a lot.
happening.
There's so much happening.
Do we got some news and gossip? We don't got a whole lot of time.
Yeah, so real
Let's get into some
quick.
news and gossip.
So, real quick, the Purge series unveils a creepy mask simulator ahead of the second season. So, next year, July 10th, 2020, the last film in the series of the Purge, it's coming out.
Oh, wow.
We don't know much about it yet, but it's said to be pretty well, especially the way the series, the TV show has done. And so they're going to incorporate this mask simulator to the series.
Okay.
And so people can actually virtually kill people.
Interesting.
wow.
So,
So
yeah.
this was like a little teaser. The
Which we saw
series.
saw
Yes.
Ben doing
Yeah,
last week.
last
Yeah,
episode.
exactly.
Right. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
I dig that. Thank you very much,
course.
Danny. And of course, rounding out the episode, Ollie, what you got for us?
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge.
Well, our new special segment is Purge or Purify. So basically, would you purge or purify in this episode? And if so, why and what would you purge or purify? So I'll go first. Basically, I would I would purge in this episode. I would purge all violence against the animals because that poor little cow was so cute. and deserve to be purged, but maybe into a burger.
Sure.
Right, I'm like, wait a minute, don't we purge them anyway?
A grass-fed
But what
cow.
about you guys?
A grass-fed.
Any thoughts?
I would. Wait, what involves purifying?
Purify, like change and purify.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would join the blue group. No, just,
We gotta see them this season.
I was gonna say I would purify Ben, but I'm like, honestly, he already had it in him.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste
Right.
my purification
See,
on
that's
people.
I think we gotta purge
So
him.
I'd
Ben.
be purging. Honestly, it's like you should always purge at least once.
Exactly, because that
So I'm
body
trying
count
to
is,
get it in.
that body count is gonna keep rising.
Yeah.
I would purify the judge so he can change his mind
Right, there you go.
on the
Good one,
Ortiz thing.
good
You
one.
gotta think lenient judges aren't gonna last very long in the role of the purge.
True.
They're gonna get purged by other judges.
Right.
Oh my God, so much happening, y'all. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on iTunes, leave us a comment, review, download, subscribe, rate, all that good stuff. I'm all discombobulated. If you're on Twitter, hit us up on social media. We're gonna throw out our handles. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. We love talking about the show. We know you do too. Let's all talk about it together. Ollie, where can they find you?
Hey guys, you can find me, Ollie Drennan, on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Dreamer.
And I'm Jamie. You can find me on Twitter at It's Jamie Gray or on Instagram at Jamie Gray, Jaimi.
And you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce. Also, right after this is us. Come check us out.
There you go. Nice little tonal shift. Y'all can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA, as well as every Tuesday on XPOC12360 right here on AfterBuzz TV. We'll be right back here, same time, same channel next week, talking episode 4. But until then, stay safe.
Purge you later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.